Hey, and welcome to the Portnoy Media Lab podcast. So, most marketing information or advice is noise. And this is a truth that I've been dealing with for quite a long time. And let me tell you why. Today, we're going to talk about how to beat the marketing gurus, build a plan, and get the algorithm to be your friend. And I think this is also true. Your skepticism is valid. Hey, aren't you just another one of those guys who's going to tell me that marketing advice is noise? Are you just going to add to the noise? And I'd say, yes, I agree with your skepticism, but no, and I'll show you how. So let's talk about why I might not be and why I might be different. So I'm the author of the best-selling book, The Nonprofit Narrative. I've been a fixer for the last 30 years and specifically media and marketing the last 23 years. And I can tell you that what we're all being bombarded with is a lot of noise. I'm also got to tell you that if you're checking this show out for the first time, thank you so much. I'm still trying to figure out this YouTube thing. The YouTube first thing is a really wild thing because the way we talk to YouTube is not exactly the way we normally talk. So it's a little bit to get used to it, but I appreciate you giving me some grace in that. So marketing advice is noise. Why? Here's a couple, I've got 5 main points that I want to cover, and then we'll get through it. One is conflicting advice. My guess is you've experienced this, that you've running through your feed of multiple things and people are like, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that, which leads me to my second point, which is gurus are leading with tactics. Tactics are important. They are, but I can't lead with tactics unless I figure out your strategy because I assume you want more people to follow you. But that shouldn't be your ultimate strategy. The idea should be sales or donations. You should be bringing people into relationship with your brand. That's the goal. So to lead with tactics of just get more people to follow you, not really helpful. Your story should be driving your marketing as well. This is really important because your story, this is where we're gonna pull your DNA from. The story of your organization, the story of your nonprofit, the story of your business. Why did you get into this business? Why do you sell the things that you do? Whether it's a business to business, you're doing a service, or you're doing some sort of widget, something that you're selling, some sort of product that you can deliver on. There's a reason why you started doing it. And it wasn't just, I want to get my kids through school. There's an underlying reason, and we need to bring that out. And that makes things a lot better for us. The next one is that there are no shortcuts. I mean, I know that we all want the hack. We all want the marketing hack. This is the marketing hack that's going to get you X. And if I said things like that, if I was really honest, well, I can't do that if I'm really honest, because there are no marketing hacks. I can be strategic, I can use tactics, but I can't hack the algorithm. It will maybe help me for a little bit, but at some point it's going to adjust. And that's the other part. The algorithm is we're playing in somebody else's sandbox, remember? So I can't say this is how it's going to be all the time because they're going to change it. Case in point this week, did anything change in TikTok this week? Oh, yes. So many people reported massive changes to what's going on and how their content's being used. And if you're using that as a strategy, some sort of tactic, oh, this is how you're going to want to use everything on TikTok, and this is the piece. Well, you just got boned. There's just nowhere for you to go now, because what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to figure it out? You've got to hire another guru to give you another tactic, and you're going to spend money and you're going to figure it out. But it's a whole process. And the last one is opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of you're going to switch tactics, you're going to change direction, it's going to feel weird. The algorithm's going to start to notice that, and that may not be the best way to engage with the platform. Shadow banning could be a thing. You could start dealing with like so many people this week on TikTok. Once they started saying certain words, it was being flagged, and things were having to happen with their content, had to be reviewed, and it was a whole thing this week. So that's an important thing to figure out. So let's break these down one by one. So let's start with conflicting advice. Constant ads in my feed, I don't know about yours, but they're just all my feed, maybe 1-to-1. I don't know. I've got like so many ads that are just rolling through, and it's 5 tips on how to do this and 3 tips on how to do that. And you can do this with my 7-step program and this, blah, 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 and these are all good tactics in terms of how to sell their digital products. Sure. But in terms of where you are and what you need to do, you don't need to do that, because what are you going to say? These are my 4 tactics to sell better widgets, or as a nonprofit, that these are the 4 tactics that are going to help you make a donation to me or something. I mean, that's not going to really work. So the conflicting advice is kind of a tell-all that there's a lot of people just kind of throwing darts at a dartboard. What can I hit? Will this work? Will this work? Will this work? Will this work? And it doesn't really work that way. If you're doing something story-based, which is what we'll talk about in a minute, but I think that's the strongest suit, then you're going to be moving and you're going to be very intentional about what those things are. And by doing that, you're not dealing with some sort of tips and tricks. And it also, I think the tough part about with the conflicting advice, or the just in general, you've got a lot of people coming through at you, telling you no information. It sounds smart. This is my framework that did this. Well, who are they? Like, okay, this is their framework. That's great. I mean, so did they just use AI and figure it out yesterday afternoon, or do they have, what are their, you're going to put all your faith in something. You should probably find out what it is. I mean, I get it. Might be a small investment, $17, $27, $97, not a huge investment to try and get things off the ground. But I'm going to assume, as a business leader, as a nonprofit leader, you're very, very precious with your dollars. And so you want to put them into something that's going to work. And this is the something that's going to work. And so let's keep going. All right. So the next one is gurus are leading with tactics. Your tactics are after your strategy. So strategy is what? Your goal, right? It's really funny because a lot of people will convolute strategy as, oh, well, we're not being strategic. We got to move, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes they're confusing strategy and tactics. Our strategy is just what our goals are. What is our strategy? Our strategy is we want to be in X amount of homes by Y, by saying a time and saying a number of products, a number of donations, a certain amount raised by X amount of date, or we're going to sell 200,000 of this by the next 6 months or 60 days, whatever that is. Those are good tactics. Those are good strategic goals. See, I'm doing it. The strategy piece is that you've got to come up with that first, and then we move to tactics. Okay, so how am I going to sell $200,000 worth of stuff in the next 60 days on Instagram? How am I going to do that? And hopefully the question is really, how am I going to do that through a whole range of social media, not just one platform and throw all your eggs in one basket? How is it going to work through YouTube? How is it going to work over here on Facebook? And you're doing something on Instagram, and you're over here doing Snapchat, and you've got an email campaign going, and then you've got maybe billboards, and you're doing something more traditional, which could be, a whole bunch of things. You could be a mailer. It could be bus stops. It could be, crazy digital stuff where you're going to project things in real life. You're doing some sort of installation. You're doing some sort of event. What are those things that are going to help you get there? And that's where the tactics come in. So tactics are important. They are very important, but they're not step one. They're step two or more. And the thing is, with the internet economy, gurus sound good. Again, they sound smart, but the contradictions sell. Because if everybody's going this way and they say, you know what, I've got a secret information, all of a sudden you're actually dealing with digital snake oil. That's because it sells well, because it's contradictory and it really works. You've never heard about that before? Oh, well, because I'm telling you the secret information. Or it just could be crackpot stuff. And that's where the buyer beware piece comes in. The internet expert economy, again, we don't know where these people came from. I was this for that long. I can't tell you it, and it's personally, I'm probably going to get in a little trouble here, but I have a lot of people who look very, very young. And there are some people who are saying, well, I decided to sell my ad agency when I was 22 because I hate money, and now I want to help you. And you can buy my system for $1,000 or whatever it is. And it makes me laugh a little bit because I'm just not trusting it. It looks too good. And why would someone give up millions and millions of dollars just so they could sell me $1,000, solution? It just seems, it doesn't really add up to me. And so, yes, I'm really skeptical on some things like that, but man, oh man, there are some people in my feed. Now, if there are also, at the same time, there are some very young people who are like, I have gone viral multiple times, and I figured out how to do virality through my videos. And then you can actually poke the box a little bit and say, oh yeah, they really did. They did figure it out, and they figured out how to do visual hooks and how things are going to move through their campaigns and how they're using it and how they're being creative with it. And they've got examples. That's great. That's worth putting money into. I really think. But somebody who's got a framework or a system and they've been around for like 12 minutes and you've never heard of them, and then they're like, yeah, I'm really big in Canada or Belarus or somewhere, that something like that. Well, maybe not. And then one other thing is, and this is very unscientific, but in the last, I don't know, let me say 2 years, I've spent about $4,000 in research. Now, this Portnoy Media Lab idea is something I've been like working on in my brain for a while, and I wanted to make sure that I had all the knowledge. So I was I'm really big on input. So I, buy things and I learn things, and I'm constantly doing skill acquisition because I'm thinking like, oh, well, maybe there's something I just need to know. I love being the encyclopedia of things, and I really enjoy it. So I've spent tons of money on webinar launches, how to make digital products, how to use the social media algorithm hacks, and how to do super short form storytelling through social media videos and small form video and all of that. But nothing personally has been more effective than me rolling up my sleeves and just getting started. Now, I will tell you that since I turned 50 in just about Thanksgiving, I've been doing a video a day, and my numbers are through the roof right now. And it's because I'm doing a video a day, and I've never done that before, but I am thinking about telling people things that I find interesting. And I'm a little all over the map with it. And you can check it out. Some of the shorts are right here on this channel. But this has made such a big difference in connecting with people. My followers are up almost 50% in just a couple of months. And any nonprofit, any business, if I could improve your numbers by 50% in just a couple of months, that would be phenomenal. That would be super great. So this kind of thing has gone well, but there are no shortcuts. So this is where we are. Okay, the next thing is your story should drive your marketing. Chasing an algorithm isn't going to work. It's just not. It's not going to work because the algorithms change all the time, and we don't know what they are exactly. We can see the evidence of them. It's kind of like chasing the wind. We see evidences everywhere, but we don't see it. Exactly. And they could change it at any time. So as soon as somebody sees something that's really cool and they've got the market figured out, you know what? They're going to zag. They're going to adjust something. And there's that. I think the other thing is the algorithm per platform is very different. Like the videos that I've been making for the last few months, some of them have taken off on YouTube, and some of them have taken off on Instagram, and some of them have taken off on TikTok. And it really just depends on what it is. Because I'm not doing a lot of dances. I'm not, wearing a skimpy bikini or anything like that. So my numbers are going to be kind of different because that's not what I'm really offering with my channel. So because of that, there's just too much to worry about to chase an algorithm. And then the other thing is that your brand is the mentor. Okay. Your thing that you're selling, or your nonprofit organization that's trying to talk to donors, is the mentor. You're the Obi-Wan, the Gandalf, the person who's you're an advisor. And what you're doing with your brand is the piece that you're not really selling. I'm just putting things in front of you. Oh, you want to make a difference on this issue? You want to help kids in Gaza, or you want to help kids in Iraq, or you want to help kids somewhere else. You want to help kids, get the help that they need in war-torn areas. Okay, well, guess what? I do have programs in war-torn areas that do help kids and families do that. So let me tell you about it. This is what we do, and this is how it is, and this is why our numbers are great. We're a great investment. This is what happens. Okay, now you want a pen. Well, let me tell you, our pens are the best because they do X, Y, and Z, and they're well weighted, and they do this and that. You're not really selling. You're just saying, hey, these are options that I have because this is the thing I do. And by doing it that way, not the non-selling selling is the best way. It's the most effective. You feel good. It doesn't feel slimy. And I've been selling products for a long time. Like I've been early in my career, that's what I was doing. I was selling quite a bit. And by just saying, hey, I understand that this process is not maybe the most fun for everyone. Well, let me make it a little more fun because this is what we're doing. And that kind of invitation usually makes a big difference. The next thing is there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts, and it's a bitter pill. I know, I'm sorry. You have to commit to 90 days at least in one direction. That's just how it's going to go. If you're not doing anything right now, commit for 90 days. For the next 90 days, we're going to do X. We're going to get on Instagram and we're going to do our best. We're going to launch something new. We have an event that is in about 45 days, and we're going to go crazy on this platform. We're going to figure out a full arc of leading up to the event itself, and a post event. What's next? Thank you so much for coming to our event. All of those things there. 6 months would be better than 90 days. 6 months would be better because, again, you're posting and letting people know the consistency is important, and that would make a big difference. So there are no shortcuts. Sorry. The next thing, or last thing, is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is real. And if you're doing one thing over here and then you take all your money and all of your resources that you were doing and you go over here, well, there's a momentum loss. You're going to be retooling everything, and that's time that it's going to take to, you're down and then you're going to go back up. And that's going to be a really important piece. The next thing is then the algorithm could be incentivized kind of in a negative way. Because if you're kind of acting erratically, well, then things like shadow bans could potentially happen. Is the shadow ban real? We're not even really sure, but it does seem like that, doesn't it? The other big thing, momentum killer, within your organization. If you're starting on something and then you got to start something new and you're going away, well, that's fine in the very beginning. But if you're just constantly like, oh, I don't know, maybe we've made a mistake. Think about it before you get started. That's a real important thing. It can also be a morale destroyer through your organization and your brand as it deals with your customers and your donors because the morale piece of what are they doing? I've been part of an organization. We were trying to raise money and they were like, hey, we need to raise a bunch of money. And it was a huge number and we need to get it by this 30 days. And we did it. And it was crazy. It was so cool. We raised all that money. It was millions of dollars, and it made such a big difference for the people that we were raising the money for. It saved a whole bunch of kids and moms from being on the street, and it was a great thing. But about 8 days after that, they found out that the chief financial officer made a math error, and that math error was, I don't know, $4 million, and that was about half the amount we had just raised. And so we just had this big win, and then we had to say, oh, sorry, we didn't do that right. We have to do it again. We made it, but it was not a great time, and people got fired, and there was just a lot of fallout from that. So it wasn't really great. I will tell you that there are a couple relevant resources I want to give you on this. One is my storytelling training. You can watch it on this video here to walk through how you can get that piece and think about your brand as a storyteller. That's a very important part. And then I've got on my resources part of my website, which there's plenty of resources that are free and some are paid, but some are free. And this one I do want to tell you, it is paid, is about the thing called the leak funnel, and you can fix your funnel fast because that's part of the problem here is figuring out what you got to do. So this tool I actually made just so that you can match it up against what you've got going on digitally, in person, with your social media, with your email, with your video, and you can start looking at what's gonna happen and evaluating that. And so that's $17. You can get that on the website, and it's just portnoymedia.com/resources. I'll put a link in there so you can check it out. But I think that with that, most marketing is noise. I really appreciate you checking out this week's episode. I will see you next week. We're going to be talking about signal versus noise. So see you next week. Catch you then. Thanks so much. Rooting for you. I'm Dan Portnoy. Have a great one. Thanks for watching this video. If this has helped you, there's another video for you to check out right over here. And if you like this channel, if you like this kind of thing, please subscribe. I post new conversations and field notes every week on our podcast, the Portnoy Media Lab. Thanks so much. See ya.